Welkom bij Topnames, iedere dinsdagavond vanuit de Waag in Amsterdam. Stekel, meestal doen we het in het Nederlands, vandaag doen we het in het Engels. Today we speak in English because language is the subject and learning a language is your subject as well. Marina Tognetti. Yeah, Myngle is your company. What does your company do?
My company does language lesson over the internet. We're a real life teacher that teach over the internet. So imagine you have a webcam and a video conference system, and then the teacher in real time with a video and a virtual classroom gives the lesson over the internet.
So it's not on-demand lessons. It's people on the other side teaching you, talking to you, learning a language.
Yeah, and it's one-on-one, mostly one-on-one, because for the language you just need the interaction with one person.
Yeah. And you've been doing this for quite a long time, so you were early in the field. So why did you start this?
So we are quite a lot of pioneer, but the story really started from myself, and it's a true story. So in 2006-2007 I wanted to become entrepreneur after many years of corporate life. And very original, I thought about China, because everybody in the time thought about doing a business with China. And my first idea was I need to do something to learn Chinese. So I started taking lessons. I took a Chinese teacher that couldn't teach me, a Dutch teacher that couldn't teach Chinese. I went to an evening school, I bought CDs, books, and I couldn't learn Chinese. And so that was my idea. I was like, how am I going to learn Chinese having a busy job? And then the idea just came and said, if I were in China, I would easily learn Chinese. So what if I use the medium of internet to bring the lessons to wherever I am?
Yeah, but in 2007 that was a different story than it is today.
It was very different.
Today we are in the era of platforms and everybody's in this business. And was it complicated to realize this dream in 2007?
And no one believed it, actually. I even remember talking to my Chinese teacher and saying about the idea, what do you think about teaching me online? I was like, no, it will never work. So in the beginning, most of the people say it was a crazy idea, and very few people thought it was actually a good idea. But I just launched. So I just decided, okay, launch in 2007, 2008, and see what it happens.
Yeah, people considered it a very promising idea at the time. Yeah. I have a very bad memory of you and your company, because in 2008, I was personally nominated for the Accenture Innovation Award.
We were together.
Yes.
She won?
She won.
You didn't?
No, I didn't. I was nominated with NOS Mobile. Yeah. So I just thought of it when I saw your timeline. I thought, that's what I know you from. That's why I know the story. But in 2008 you already won some prizes. But still, we're 7 years on the road now. What happened to your company during those years?
Changed a lot. I must say, maybe it's one of the typical examples where I didn't get it right in the beginning, but I got it right after quite some time. So what happened is we launched, we got a lot of publicity, awards, everybody was enthusiastic, but it didn't really catch fire. It didn't really blow and start growing as it normally should, a company. And we started realizing that for language lessons, so initial message was eBay for languages. So when I launched I matched teacher and student and a kind of hands-off system where people meet each other and take lessons. But very early on we realized that actually people need quality for language lesson. So it's not just enough to go on a platform and find a teacher. You know, if you go on eBay, you buy a Nokia, you know if it works or if it doesn't work, if it arrives in time or not. But language lesson is difficult to evaluate. How do you know that the teacher is good? It takes you 2 months, 3 months, 4 months before you realize you haven't learned. So people were asking us I need you to take responsibility for the quality. I don't want to find my teacher and realize he's not a good teacher. So we started a change. We started moving from a platform to a school. Little by little also kicking out a lot of teachers. So that didn't make me popular at the time, but a decision needed to be made. And so we started increasing the quality of the product with selection of the teachers, selection of the content, training of the teachers. So we became much more of an online school. And then while we became an online school, we started having requests from corporate accounts. And we realized, actually the business and the need is much more in corporate than individuals.
Yeah. And I understand how that went, but of course, at the moment there are other platforms as well. There are still a platform where people that can teach something and people that want to learn something can find each other. So is there room for both?
My personal belief in one-on-one, because we are specialized in one-on-one, I don't see a big market for one-on-one. Because if you think how many people pay for a private teacher of individual, I don't think that there is a real need. Who are the people who will pay for a one-on-one? It's business people or people who need it for work. So I think that there is, but it's a niche market. But if you move to corporate, then the market is huge because you have all the managers and people traveling, expats. Yeah. So I don't believe that there is a huge market for one-on-one. Just
no, because of course what I mean is that most of the time it's the platforms that have sort of courses, etc. Yeah. And so it's not one-on-one, but it's one-to-many.
Yeah, and it's maybe also that you developed this idea before the whole platform idea really was grown up, and scalability really was a big issue, because one-on-one of course is also not scalable.
No, and that's why we went automatically into the model where it's high profitability and less scalability, because one-on-one is intrinsic. Yeah. But if you think about languages, you need a one-on-one. It's different than learning maths, you can learn it from a book. But language you need to practice, so language you really need a teacher, you need a correction, you need pronunciation, you need much more than just listening to a video.
Yeah. I think most startups don't survive for 4 or 5 years and then changing their course really like you did to corporate. Yeah. How did you do that? Did you have enough funding to...
No, I think it was the toughest thing to change. Maybe that's where my experience as a manager came in place. So when I started, I was completely inexperienced as an entrepreneur. So I made a lot of the typical entrepreneurship mistake. But when it was the moment to change the company...
Mention a few.
If you spend way too much money in the beginning, very simple, and just thinking that as in a corporate you have infinite budgets, and every year the manager approves the budget of the next year. That's very different in a startup. Yeah. So you kind of go on with the idea there is an infinite budget coming in front of me, but that's not the startup life. Yeah. Or hiring personnel too early on in the early stage. So all this mistake of a corporate manager, maybe getting too big too soon and getting too easy with investment. I kind of paid the price in the beginning, but possibly the fact that I was a manager helped me in the turnaround. Because when it was needed to change, then I went back to what did I need to do? And say, okay, I was a marketeer. What does a marketeer do? Listen to customer and try to adapt to the customer needs. So that is the moment probably my experience helped me most.
Yeah. And how big are you now?
I cannot say numbers,
why not?
Because we have investors, and I'm going also probably fundraising in 1 year. So all the financial number I have to keep it secret.
But the thing is, of course, I respect that. Yeah. But it is in the whole sort of world of startups and entrepreneurs. There's more different approaches as well. There are, for example. There are companies that publish everything online, where I can see now how many customers they have today and what they earn today, etc. Is it really important not to tell how big you are, how many customers you have?
We have hundreds of corporate customers. We have very big customers, so that I can say, but really big names. So just to name, I don't know, in the fashion industry, we have Prada, Armani, Ferragamo. Yeah. We have in consulting, we have Boston Consulting Group, Deloitte, Bain. So we have really a range of very, very big customers. Yeah. But I don't say the number, but we have in the hundreds of corporate customers. So we have a good revenue stream. Yeah. We are profitable. So we are self-supporting and profitable. Yeah.
So what is your what is the next step you want to take? Where do you want to go with your company?
Next step is really expanding. So what we are doing now we start expanding by country. So we launch as a global platform, and we started last year really to do the deep dive per country. So we started Italy to really deep dive in the country. Italy, we're going to start country by country to really set a full sales force and a full team to go in the country.
So is that when we talk about scalability? So not only say the teachers makes it less scalable, but you have to operate country by country as well.
Yeah, but country by country operating from the Netherlands. So that's not a problem. Everybody's here.
You don't need local.
No, I don't need local, and I also want to prove that it's possible at distance. So most of the competitors in the education industry on traditional education, they have really local subsidiaries. I believe it can be done at distance, but you need an Italian to go and talk to Italian company and a German to talk to German companies. So that's what I mean.
Okay, you mentioned yourself a school. Before that you were more of a platform. Yeah. A school employs teachers.
Yeah.
Do you also? Or?
No, because that's the scalability part.
But then the quality aspect comes of course, into question. If you don't employ your teachers, how do you control and monitor the quality of your teachers? How do you do that?
Yeah, we're very strict. That's one of the capability we put in place. So we have a kind of different steps of selection. So the first one is on CV. The second one, they have to pass a test. The third one goes with an interview. So they have all a selection before they come in. And then we have a continuous loop of feedback. So students give the feedback after a lesson. They have a customer satisfaction survey. So we keep on doing a feedback loop and we test. So if the teacher is not good enough, either it goes back to training or it gets sent away.
Mm-hmm. And you yourself, also when you started, were not an education expert. I mean, you came from corporate life. I mean, learning a language has a lot to do. I mean, there's a lot of scientific stuff about it, about methods that are most efficient, have the best results. I mean, what qualified you, to set up a company or a school like this?
No, I was the marketeer, so I always work on marketing. Two of my partners actually came from Berlitz, to my founding partners. Yeah. So those are the one, and one of them is responsible for operation now. So he's the one that actually brought the knowledge about the education industry. I didn't even want to enter.
And did you develop your own method? Is it also innovative in the aspect of how you learn a language, or are it proven methods just translated into a digital format?
It's more of a proven method translated in digital, because we went from the communicative method, that is a method very much used now by Berlitz and other systems, which is about stimulating people to talk.
It's a lot about practicing.
Yeah, practice, and which is natural with a one-on-one teacher. If you use a teacher, then of course you believe that the communication and the verbal interaction is most important. Yeah. So that is actually the core of our lesson. And then we went with existing methods.
Besides video conferencing, etc., what is the role of technology for your company?
Technology is just the binding of everything, because it's not only video conference, the booking system everything is automated. So actually we can handle thousands of students per month in a very easy flow, because everything goes automated. So the student goes, books the lesson, reschedule the lesson, automated email, automated reporting. Also for the HR we have extensive reporting, everything goes automated. Yeah. So technology is actually binding everything. The only non-automated is the teacher actually.
The teacher.
Okay, we have a question. We take some questions from Twitter. Yes. Question from Mark de Kok, who is watching from Switzerland, who actually just announced today that he has a new job. So, Mark, congratulations. Yes. His question is, what do you think of Duolingo? Is it a logical verlengstuk van je diensten, an extension of your services?
Yes or not, because if we say we focus on companies, we really focus on communication. I think the Duolingo is a more written practice, or maybe more passive practice. For us, it's really teaching people how to speak. So it could be a complementary, but if you think about a manager needs primarily to be able to express himself, and needs primarily to be able to be in a meeting in English, presenting in English, negotiating in English. So it's a different type of skills. I think the Duolingo is better for B2C, probably, and we are the best solution for B2B.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's as well, the type of communication, so like you say, for be the contract or whatever it is, so it's the words as well. It's not only say how do you speak, but what are the specific words you need in this kind of conversation. Yeah,
one thing we learn is also to personalize the programs very much. So we start with an assessment, and then we personalize the type of program and content. And when you talk to manager and company, you notice it's a lot about how do you use the language, how do you handle a meeting in English, for example, how do you present to client in English. So it's a lot about the specific communication that you have with the client or with your team. It's very different than the basic ABC of a language. Yeah.
Hey, very often when we talk about technology companies, etc., of course, a lot of them, there are a lot of them here in Europe, but a lot of them start from America, and very often people say it's better to start there because that's where the finance is, that's where the first market is. But in your case, I assume it's better to start not from America, because here we know more about the necessity of different languages.
Yeah, definitely. And I even can say that some time ago I was talking to an American potential partner in e-learning, and they really say the big difference with American and European is Americans have never studied language and they think that by buying a CD they will learn a language. Europeans study and they know they need teachers to learn a language. So that's why the market in America is not much evolved. They just, they're just one step behind.
Yeah.
So I say European is the best market, or Asian market is fantastic.
And are you focusing on Asia as well? So?
We have some big clients in Japan.
Yeah.
So just,
But when you look into the future, is that a growth market for you?
Yeah, it will be first Asia before America probably.
Yeah.
There is more potential there, Asia and Brazil.
Yeah.
You got during the years 2 or 3 times funding.
Yeah.
Series A was in 2014.
No, 2008, then 2009 a bank loan.
A bank loan.
Yeah.
Okay, and then in January 2014, a B2B Series A funding is...
Yeah, a small one to start putting a sales force together.
A small one, okay. And I'm just trying to figure out, you say you're profitable, you keep on receiving funding as well. How do you look at the future financially for your company? How long can you... because you're talking about a quite aggressive international expansion program. Do you need new funding in the near future?
So probably yes. So the decision is, do I want to grow progressively, investing now what I have, or do I want to accelerate growth? And something I will decide probably in 2016. First I want to consolidate because, am I doing the right things and can I actually scale up naturally? And then end of the year I will decide, next year I will decide what is the next step. So something I haven't yet decided because going fundraising also means share dilution and means having a certain acceleration.
Okay. What I also think is really interesting is that we talk to a lot of startups and at this table, and we have the startup accelerators. It's a big hype. Everybody's joining a startup accelerator these days, I think. Are you a mentor at one of the programs?
No.
That's also interesting because. I see you have a history of by now 7 years building
You're
a
veteran.
company.
Yes,
You're a veteran. And from you I hear a very realistic approach about your business and blah blah blah. And I sometimes have the impression that from the young guys who have an idea and go to an accelerator program and they come with it's almost a marketing modus. They come to the table and are very ambitious, want to conquer the world and do anything for that. How do you look at that, the startup hype?
But that's what I had in the beginning. I started Myngle and I thought I'm going to be, a multi-billion-dollar company within 1 year time. I'm going to be the new Berlitz and I'm going to conquer the world. The problem is that when you go like that, 10 companies try, 1 company succeed and 9 fail. So I think along the way I kind of made the choice. It's like, do I want to do Russian roulette? I may be the one, but there is 90% chance I'm not the one.
Right.
Or do I want to build a business that I'm sure it will be actually solid and can continue? So it's a choice, and also given the business model is not, it's not one of the infinitely scalable systems. So I decided, okay, I can build a business that I know for sure will be there and doesn't risk of going down.
But what you're actually saying is that the way those accelerators are teaching the guys to run a startup company is Russian roulette.
It is a bit, because it's like, Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley, they make amazing success, but you also know that, what is 50% of the company fail within 2-3 years.
And what you are showing, that if you belong to the 9 out of 10, you can also be successful.
Yes, and that's why I was not the one. I was not meant to be the one that raised billion.
But you still exist.
But I still exist, and I'm profitable, and I can go on forever growing.
So what is the lesson we can learn from that?
So probably is never give up. If you're not the one, maybe maybe moderate. You're not going to be Facebook. Maybe we're not all Facebook. But if you're not Facebook, but if you're not Facebook, you still can be a successful company. So if you belong to the 9, you don't necessarily need to fail as long as you are ready to change. So for me, change was probably the most important.
So what they call it all pivoting. Now you just call it change.
Pivoting is. But for me, pivoting is the most important success and probably the most important advice that you could give.
Okay, and for you, it was the change from a B2C market to the B2B market.
Yeah, and from a generic platform to a quality platform, and from open system to a closed system, all together built to where we are now.
Yeah. And why are you not involved in one of the accelerators as a mentor?
Simply no one asked. I have a couple of people from my INSEAD I'm mentoring on a side, but simply no, I haven't been asked. So
INSEAD is the big business school in France.
So I have a couple of people that I'm helping on a side.
Yeah.
So maybe you were just a bit, because you were, I think, just say before the whole, before all the startup things came up and became big, because you were already there. Yeah. So maybe that's why you're maybe a bit out of the view of some of the people that are working now. You're already there.
Yeah, and at the time the story pivoting didn't exist. I remember I did it naturally.
Yeah, we called it change.
But I naturally understood listen to the customer. The customer will tell you what to do what the customer tell, and you will arrive in the right place.
Yeah.
Then 3 years ago, I discovered the famous, the books of Steve Blank and the lean startup. I was like, why didn't anybody tell me like 5 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing all that, but no one told me that was the theory.
Yeah, and I think you also proved that the lange adem, as we say in Dutch,
at the end you win.
Is in the end the most important thing.
Yeah.
If you are an entrepreneur and
for
want to succeed.
Never give up.
Yeah.
If something doesn't work, I always have the feeling if something doesn't work, there is a reason. You started an idea, so there is something good. So probably it's not that the idea is completely bad. There is something in the idea that is not working properly. Change that.
Yeah.
And you're not sometimes envious at the guys who are playing the Russian roulette? Yeah.
I'm envious at the one who wins, but if I see the 9 who lose, then I prefer to have a company that is going solid.
Mark de Kok asks, are there learnings of your data? Are there big data learnings? He asks, for example, which languages are trending? Is that something you do, looking at your data and how can I make my business better?
Yeah, of course, that's the good of internet is that you have all data available, but for us it's more over looking at the data to see how can I improve the process of the student, or I can improve the different, the different touch point of the student, the learning of the student. In terms of languages, it's pretty simple. English is 80% and all the other 20%, so that's a pretty simple cut. So that's there is not much important data to extract out of that.
No. So 80% from your students want to learn English? Yeah. And what's the second language?
Spanish. Spanish is the second, and then other European languages.
Okay, but that only shows that you're big in Europe and have not landed in China yet.
But China would be also English. Yeah. China would be English.
They want to learn English.
They want to learn English.
But not so many people want to learn Chinese yet.
No, not yet. While I started as a Chinese, but I started as a Chinese company originally.
Yeah, that's what you told us.
Yeah,
it's quite amazing.
But for example, excellent markets, China, Japan and Korea. Japan and Korea even more because they have the infrastructure that is ready. Mm-hmm. China is not there yet in terms of broadband and technology infrastructure, but Japan and Korea are more advanced than we are. Mm-hmm. So that's
in the technical means you are using in the platform, in the beginning I remember from the time you were winning the Accenture Innovation Award, and I lost in the same year.
He's going to get me back.
Yeah, I'll get you back. You were using Skype.
Yes.
For the one-on-one interaction between the teacher and the student. Are you still using like public video tools, or did you develop something yourself?
No, so we change a lot. That also, so we are using complete virtual classroom now, not only Skype, and we use one is our, but open source. So we integrate different pieces of open source. But for company, we discovered normally they like to use the one that's already in use in the company. Okay. And so we integrated a flexible system that can adapt and move from our own to WebEx, to Link, to Adobe. So we're integrating all the systems in one.
Okay, and then the only thing that's important is what are they using in their company?
And it's a preference normally. If the company has a system, they prefer to use their own because it's more simple.
How do you get your customers? Do you have a large sales department? How does it go?
Yeah, it's a mix. Many people know us by now. When it's word of mouth to come to the platform, and then we have really a sales team that goes out and reach the company. And there is a lot of referral word of mouth. So we also get a company that have heard from us from another colleague in HR. HR talks to each other.
How many people do you have working for you now?
We are 15 people in Amsterdam, and then we have a team in Philippines. So that is only the sales people, and then we have a team in Philippines that is all the support team, and a team in Vietnam that is for the programming team. So here we only have.
You outsourced to Vietnam for the development. Why Vietnam?
I started with China, and it went really bad.
Really?
No, they have excellent programmer and really good price level and very high quality of programmer. They're very good engineering schools.
Why did it fail in China?
they went completely wrong because I didn't have the right partner. So the program, my first platform was programmed in 3 months, was completely wrong. So then we went to the Vietnamese team and we said, okay, this is what you have, please put it together in 3 months and we have to launch by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So it was it's actually a good.
You have been in Vietnam ever since. It's since you changed from China.
Yeah, and it works well.
I don't hear it a lot, Vietnam.
I've never heard it actually.
It's normally India or Croatia or Eastern Europe.
No, it's really good. Vietnam is not known yet, but they have excellent engineer. It's a very good university.
But very often when of course the price is nice, etc. But so how do you work then? Is one of your people over here is based over there, or how do you work on the product?
No, the good is that this company is an American company with Vietnamese programmer and a Dutch account manager. Okay. So we already have, the Dutch account manager is the one that helps us with the problem. But we learn how to work with them. You have to give very clear instruction, and at the end everything is done online. So it doesn't really matter if the person is sitting in front, as long as you give very clear instructions.
Yeah. And you said the Philippines is
support system.
Support system, and why the Philippines?
Excellent. Even when I went there, I was even investigating India and other markets. They speak perfect English, almost without accent. While in India there is an accent, and they're very much customer support mentality. They're very much into, very kind to the customer, very helpful. They will go the extra mile to help, and that's really in the mentality of the people.
Okay. That's interesting. Good.
So when is your next pivot?
Next pivot is going fine for the moment, so I don't think I need to pivot. It's just now is built it up and maybe starting moving towards the one out of 9 that is very successful and not just in the middle. Yeah.
Hey, and what has at the moment we're in the phase where Holland is making itself sort of we're a really good country for startups, etc. So a lot of marketing going on here as well. When you look at Amsterdam, from your perspective as an entrepreneur, how has it helped you, or has it hindered you starting from here?
I think Amsterdam is a good system because I think first of all I think it's pretty easy to set up a company, and there is a lot of knowledge around. I think it's even the loan that I got was a borgstellingkrediet, innovatie borgstellingkrediet, so it's a system that facilitates companies that is guaranteed by the Dutch government. So there is a lot of things in the infrastructure of Holland that help startup. So definitely. Yeah. And I hear that, for example, Italy is a very bad market for startups. So all South Europe is very bad for startups. There is no support, no funding, no angels.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Great story.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
And what we do is we've been doing this for almost 5 years, and we will be doing this for a long time.
Of course.
So we hope to see you back sometime to tell you how things go.
And if you ever want to try the lesson, just let me know.
I would love to.
Yes, Italian.
Oké, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Jullie bedankt voor het kijken. Je weet, we gaan zo direct verder. Als je nu live kijkt, althans dinsdagavond doen we dat altijd. 2 interviews achter elkaar. Zo direct Kars Veling van Q42. Kijk je on demand, dan weet je dat je die uitzending daar nu kunt bekijken. Je ziet in beeld dat je ons voor een tientje per maand kunt steunen. Dan maak je media over innovatie mogelijk. Krijg je dagelijkse berichten voor. En sinds vandaag krijg je dan ook, als je van bier houdt. We gaan proberen natuurlijk ook de wijndrinkers en de koffiedrinkers, et cetera, in de toekomst te plezieren. Maar voor nu de bierdrinkers, 10% korting krijg je bij bier en zo. Dus word FMT-member. Je helpt media over innovatie mogelijk maken. We zijn je zeer dankbaar. Hoor je het? Dank u wel.
Dag.
Wait, it's okay.